Hello, family. Welcome to another edition or another episode of the Black Men's Roundtable. I am Rodney Butler, and I am your host and co-moderator for the show. And we are going to start off by telling everybody Happy New Year. And we are going to start off introducing our panel that we have today of Black men business owners. I will start here to my left, Dr. Biggums.
My name is Dr. Pascal Biggums. I'm a chiropractor at Alleviation Wellness Chiropractic.
Corey.
My name is Attorney Corey Martin. I'm the founder, managing attorney at the law offices of Martin and Associates here in Douglasville, Georgia at 8312 Office Park Drive. We practice immigration, criminal defense, and personal injury.
All right, Mark.
Hi, I'm Martin Raxton, the President and CEO of the Crimson Political Action Council, and we're based here in Douglasville, but we support candidates on the local, state, and federal levels.
So as you can see, we have two Martins tonight. So one with the first name Martin, one with the last name Martin. This is live TV, so I'm probably going to mess up something. So, but if I do, we're not going to edit too much of it out because I like for the show to look real and be real and be as local as possible. It's not a Hollywood production. So, so tonight we're going to be talking about a few topics that we know that people want to know. Usually, if they get a chance to talk with business owners, especially Black business owners, especially Black male business owners. So it's very unique. It's a very unique situation to be in, and so I wanted to bring this wonderful band of business owners together so you guys can learn something tonight. And don't forget to please, if you have any questions out there on the live stream, send them in. We'll try to answer them, towards the end of the show, and we will answer questions from our live audience if they have any as well. All right, so gentlemen, the first topic for discussion is getting a small business off the ground. There are all kinds of hurdles to cross when you're trying to get a business up off the ground. But there's also a lot of learning that takes place when we do that. So let's start. Anybody just jump in there. What were some of the just getting a small business off the ground? How did that go for you?
Well, for myself, again with the Crimson Political Action Council, one of the things we had to do was to determine what would be our niche. What will we be doing that's different than what other entities or organizations may be doing? And so once we determine that, and what we do is we raise funds for candidates that serve our underserved and unserved communities throughout the country. We went through the formal process of getting incorporated, filing the documentations here with the state of Georgia, Department, Secretary of State, getting a bank account, getting a business account set up, and then looking at how do we finance that? How do we support that? How do we drive and put in the infrastructure? And one of the things that's so important in my aspect is to get the word out. How do you get the message out? How do you let people know? So then I had to kind of get savvy into understanding social media, understanding building a website, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and really now promoting some of the things that we do to sustain the business. And once that infrastructure was in place, now how do we sustain it?
As far as me, I tell people it's a beast. That's what it is. And you have to be grown when you decide that you're going to start a business, any type of business. And although growing up, my mom had an Avon business. Although it was small, it still was a business. And my aunt had a business as well. And so business owners in the family came naturally, right? Because you had someone that you could see doing things even if you didn't learn till later on that, wow, yes, it's Avon, but it still is a business.
Exactly.
It's Tupperware, but she still operated this as a business. And so understanding that and seeing those models and then knowing, okay, yeah, but this is a beast. It sounds great to say I am a business owner, I have my own. But when it gets down to it, there's a entrepreneurial spirit that you have to have. There's a mentality that you have to have when you decide to get this business off the ground. And although I have the law firm, prior to that, I've had a tax franchise as well. I've been an independent contractor for UPS. So there was these businesses that I had already established, some regardless of whether I wanted to or not. It just happened that the Lord guided my steps in certain ways that gave me an opportunity to get my business off the ground. But it's a beast. And I even had a conversation just recently with my wife, who also has a small business. And part of that conversation was, well, people said, well, you don't need money to start a business. Well, I'll tell them quick. I don't know who you heard that from before. That's a lie. I just don't believe that. Don't believe that whatsoever. Now, I don't know what type of business they have, but I mean, for the smallest of business, you need to have some type of capital, something going on in order to get this business off the ground. Because again, it sounds good. And on paper, it may even look good because they tell you to write things down. But when you're taking that business and actually starting to make sure that you have operating capital, that you have money, that you have people you can depend on, that you have employees that you can depend on, there's all these different factors that you're going to have to look at when you say, okay, this is what I'm going to do to get my small business off the ground. And at the same time, understanding, I think one major thing is, although I've told people that I'm starting a business and I expect them to support me, you may not have any support. That support may disappear.
Sure.
Right? I can tell you all day long that I'm going to help you and support you get your business off the ground.
Right.
And when it's time for you to put some skin into the game, or put your money there, or help me, even if it's just moving some tables into the business that I'm in, you disappear. You got the truck, and I said, hey, Rodney, let me borrow your truck. I got you, bro. I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. And I moved everything in, and then you come back around. Oh, you still need me? No, it's done now. But there's just all these different factors that's going through your head. But I tell people, it's a beast. Don't just think that everything is going to be great starting off, because it doesn't, for most people, work like that. It's a process that we do, but if you stay faithful to the process, stay intentional, you can get your business off the ground. And that's why you can come to individuals that you know that have already did theirs, or as an attorney, you can come to me for those things that I do know, and I can lead you down that path to hopefully help you be successful.
Absolutely.
Well, if we're going to be real about this,
Be real.
Please.
it takes a lot of investment with no money from your end. Getting out there in your network, joining the chamber. For me as a chiropractor, joining the chamber, networking with, fellowship with people like-minded who wants to better themselves. You don't get that all the time. You have people like Mars saying, hey, I'll be there for you. But when you turn around, you left by yourself, holding that debt. And that debt don't disappear automatically. It takes time. Especially if you start the process wrong, it's even worse. So now you're behind the 8 ball. And the first year sucked. You're just trying to get your head above water. And it hurts you. Those sleepless nights. Your friends don't see that. The anxiety of paying your staff, your friends don't see that. When the business don't bring in the money that it's supposed to at the beginning, and you got to write personal check from an account that have only $500 in there, get you a support team. Matter of fact, get you a mentor ahead of time to support you, because you're going to go through some struggles. Getting it off the ground, like you're saying, I charged in the chamber. I went to a couple of businesses ahead of time. I didn't get that SBA loan like a lot of people, and that hurt. And we'll talk about it later what happened with it during the process. But don't be afraid to fail, though. That's the process, because failure will make you stronger. It'll make you hungrier. If I can be incorrect but politically correct, that hunger inside of you to start the business, it'll be the same one that's gonna carry you through the business. And that's one of the things that I can tell any individual who's starting their own business. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Just learn from it and keep pushing.
And that's definitely, I agree, you're gonna make the mistakes. So one of the things that happened to me in 08, 09, which is when I graduated law school, the bottom fell out the economy. Before then, I was interning with the solicitor's office, the IRS, Homeland Security, and I always said, hey, I got a job. I ain't worried about nothing, because I've already put that work in to go in with them. But the bottom fell out. Attorneys were being laid off. They were being fired. Everybody was downsizing. And so now I have to make a decision. Well, what do? You have a law degree. You got your license. You know what you're supposed to do. Start your business. Hang your shingle. Do whatever you need to do to make sure that you use these skills and that skill set that you've gotten from law school, and you got a family. So the family is looking at you, right, at the end of the day to come through. So you've got to make some decisions. And for me, that was just one of the things. I didn't have any other option, at least in my mind, I didn't have any other option other than to put that shingle out there, make sure I was prepared. And I was, because I had the internships throughout my law school career, but that didn't deal with opening and starting a business, which is totally different. It didn't prepare me for that.
Yeah, and I would say also one thing, when you're starting a business, you got to learn finances. And your personal finances is totally different than the way you run your business.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't understand that you have to manage a business totally different. So you're going to take on some debt. But you got to also have that revenue stream to cover it.
Yeah, you're right.
But debt can be good in a business if you're trying to position it and you're trying to expand, you're trying to grow it. But you're also, again, always on the fight. You're always on. The camera is always on you in your own business because you're always out there selling. And the first thing you sell is yourself.
Always.
You always got to sell yourself before you can even start talking about the business you have at hand.
Well, like they say, if your mouth is closed,
Don't
your business is closed.
Those mouths don't get fed.
That's right. And don't get paid. And so I think a good takeaway from that first topic is, number one, expect to fail. Expect to fail because you're going to fail more than likely. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about your friends. You're going to learn a lot about your family. And you are going to learn a lot about people who you think, are your support system, but they're not. Build your support system.
Yes.
Build your support system. It's probably not going to be people who look like you. And I'm talking about all aspects of that.
Sure.
To include genetically look like you, meaning family, but also, just all the other aspects of how we look as people. It's probably going to be people who actually just the furthest from you, and those are the people who will surprise you. I'm not a current business owner, but God knows I've had a lot of them. And so, and what I'm telling you is that it is you're on an island.
Yeah.
You're on an island.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest takeaway that I think from there. You're going to fail, and your support system. Those two things. Next area of discussion is just the pros and cons. Now we covered that a lot when we were just talking, but just some of the pros and cons. And no, a pro is not I have a business card. You can go get those made and put anything on it. But let's talk about a few of the pros and cons, and we can mix it up. It don't have to be in order. Well, just talk about little pros and cons of business ownership. And
I think one of the cons, a big one that I run into, is you're going to hear work-life balance. So when you're a business owner, that work-life balance doesn't always work out. And for most of us, you're going to end up with more work than you do life balance, right? And sometimes it's hard to get family members and others to understand that we're building a business, but at the same time, I may not be able to spend the quality time with you that I would like to and that you deserve at this moment. As things build and get better, I'll be able to. But that work-life balance, even some of the newer attorneys that come in, that's some of the questions that we always get. Work-life balance, and I ask, well, what is that? I've been doing this for the last 14 years as an attorney, and I still haven't been able to get there. And maybe because again, it is a business, and I own my business, and so I expect myself to be able to put the hours in that I need to when I need to, regardless of what else is going on around me, unless someone is sick, something like that. But to me, that's one of the biggest things, that part there, that balance that doesn't come. But in understanding that's part of it, then I can deal with that. Now, I think one of the cons of business ownership is just that it's mine. I can deal with this business the way that, to some degree, I really choose to, although I have clients, right? I can work 8 to 5. I need to take off if I need to help with the family, but it's mine, and I can work as hard and as long as I want to make sure my business is where it's at. And I'm able to tell someone else, well, yes, I'm an attorney, but I also have my own law firm. And we make sure that we try to do things with excellence, just like you would get from anyone else. And so it's the pride that I take in myself in being a business owner. That's what I think is one of the pros. And of course, we make pretty good in the things that we do as an attorney. So that's a pro as well. And being able to take a skill set and help my community. Because we do quite a bit of pro bono here at the office. And so being able to help the community, being able to help veterans, being able to help those that are less fortunate, we all hear the saying, too much is given, much is required. And so with my being a business owner, I can choose to reduce the fees that I would normally charge someone because it's my business versus working for someone else. They may just have, this is the rate, we don't go outside of that. So that's some of the cons and the pros as far as my being a business owner.
You want to go? You want me?
Go ahead.
The cons of being a business owner, you have no social life. Even with my wife, you have no social life. If you have friends and they don't understand that you're trying to generate a business, they ain't your friends. It takes an entrepreneur to run a business. It takes someone who want to invest in themselves to run a business. You're going to have sacrifice to be made. Sacrifice will have to be made. Like today, my son turned 8 today. And he said, Dad, you going to have a birthday party? You going to come to my birthday party with me? I'm like, son, I'll be there right afterwards, after I finish this meeting. Because my thing is, as a business owner, is one, my son would eat better knowing that I promoted my business to get more people. And he'll say, Dad, how many people we seen today? I'm like, son, we've seen a lot of people today. He was like, Dad, that's fantastic. I'm like, yes, son, it is. But it's showing them that I may not be there physically with you all the time. Don't mean I can't communicate with you, and let them know it's up front. And my wife too. When I started my business, my wife told me, "So can we have date night?" I'm like, "Oh, date night, honey, baby. I gotta get these reports out. I'm gonna be up to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I gotta wake up at 5 o'clock to get my kids ready for school. I gotta sacrifice sleep right now to get this business off the ground." Imagine telling your wife that. Or tell your husband that. How they gonna look at you then if they don't know what it takes to operate a business? I've seen a lot of people get divorced because of a business.
Yes, sir.
That's true.
So those are the cons portion of it. And when you think about that and you get into business, they don't tell you that aspect of that business. They say, hey, you can do it. I hope you can. I pray that you can.
So let me ask you something, Dr. B.
Yes.
So that meeting, is that this meeting?
Yes.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Hey, you have to have, a network of people. This man is here. I didn't even know that his son's birthday was the day until he just said it. So I'm like, meeting, he talking about right here.
Right now.
You do not get this, people. Man, I feel special. I feel special now. This man is here. That's dedication, never off. This man is more than, this is my chiropractor, by the way. So, I'll let you know some stuff.
Yeah, right.
That's the stuff right there. So, I tell you, one other area that I would say is a con is, and you mentioned this in the 2008, 2009 crash, is the lack of gaining capital and getting funds, getting investments. And what happened in that time is a lot of minority banks and credit unions folded in the communities. So we only have a handful in the country that's still left that can support a lot of minority businesses. So going to a traditional financial institution may not always be the option. A lot of times you have to look at venture capitalists or those that have angel funds. And guess what? They want to have an equity share. They want to get a return on their investment. So in my business, when I'm saying, hey, we're providing funding and capital for candidates, well, a lot of times people don't see an immediate return or a return on a financial investment because they're not going to get a stake or a claim or a return of 10, 20, 30%, et cetera. So what you have to sell and what you have to really talk to them about is why it's important. What does the long game look like? How is this going to benefit our community? And then talk and sell that to those venture capitalists and those investors. Because again, you're not going to get the funds to your traditional financial institution in many areas.
Exactly.
And I think as African American male business owners, a lot of institutions and structure isn't there like it is for the African American females. They're killing it.
Yep.
Big time.
They're getting out there. They are having venture capitalists. They're putting money in. They're pooling their money, and they're getting their businesses off the ground with financial support and success. So we got to start thinking that way too, as business owners and African American males as business owners. And it is so critical that we have those conversations like we're doing here tonight.
You know, one of the things you just said makes sense about the pros of business ownership. It's like we can collaborate
Yeah.
with different minded people
Exactly.
for one particular goal. It's for growth
Yeah.
and knowledge. You hear?
Exactly.
And that's one thing that is so important in our community that we lack.
Yeah.
How many times have we went to someone else and asked for, hey, how can you help me?
Yeah.
Without getting your ego involved or getting that pride hurt.
Of course.
It's there.
Yeah.
Have we taken advantage of it? No, because we at a young age, what we consider what it told us to do: man up,
Yeah.
find a way,
Right.
or make one.
Yeah.
That's what Clark Atlanta motto is right now: find a way, make one. But it's that energy and that perception of a guy's supposed to know how to do it, and it's so wrong. We don't know.
Yep.
But if we don't ask the right people the right questions, how are we supposed to get that portion of it? Well, that portal of being a business owner, you get to sit down with people like that and ask the question, hey, matter of fact, how do I get along? How do I take advantage of that equity is, portion of it?
Right.
Because you're not going to get it nowhere else, because if you go to a traditional bank, they're like, your credit score too low. I don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't been in business.
You haven't been long enough.
Yeah.
Do you have your EIN number?
Yeah. Yeah. Who's on your board?
Who's on your board? Who's on your portfolio, by the way?
Yeah. Who are your clients? What's
That-
your revenue?
what's your revenue source starting off?
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking for that part to start the business, but I need it ahead of time. Okay,
Yeah.
help me make sense of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the flip sides of being a business owner is that you get to set the strategy.
Yes,
You get to set that vision, the mission statement or the organization,
Yes.
versus going into a company that has been established and you have to follow theirs.
yes,
So when you talk about that excellence and setting that kingdom quality of service, as a business owner, we can lay that groundwork.
yes,
We can set that off from jump.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think a couple of takeaways from that is, kind of wrote them down here. Check your ego at the door. Check it. Check your ego at the door. Leave it where it is somewhere, but just check it at the door. Be an expert at what you don't know. You know what you know, but really know what you don't know. And that will help you a lot, especially starting out, a new business. And one of the things that I want to talk about real quick was, people tell you, if you're not, in your business and doing stuff with your business from the moment you hit, the floor until the moment you go to bed, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I say, there's only so much sweat equity you can put into your business. But there are so many other equities that you can put into your business, and you don't have to work yourself silly. So you're going to want to, everything about you is going to be about your business, but just watch the sweat equity. There are other ways that you can, invest in your business other than just tiring yourself out and burning yourself out. And within 18 months, 12 months, you're no good to nobody. So, next topic, gentlemen, is let's talk about a few of the hurdles. Just a few hurdles you've had to overcome as a business owner, and then I'm going to be more specific with the next topic and talk about. So try to stay away from being a minority business owner or a black man business owner, because that's going to be the next topic. But just hurdles that you've just generally had to overcome.
I know for me, when I got into the business or before I started, there were others that said, yeah, I'll support you. I got you. We're going to be able to raise this. We're going to be able to, grow this. We're going to be able to expand and open up some networks. And you bring them onto your board. You bring them into your leadership, your advisors, your trusted advisors to get input. And down the road, you feel like, and you find out that they're really competing against you. You know, they're not invested in you, and they're not opening up their Rolodex. They're not giving you the introductions, and they're not opening up their wallets. So, like you said, making those mistakes early, understanding where everyone's sitting and what is it that they're looking to get out of that, and out of working with you, and what is it they're trying to drag away from you. Knowing that going in, really now after year one, say, you know what, we're gonna wipe the board clean, we're gonna start afresh. And we're gonna go in and asking a whole different set of questions, because we really now are gonna be much more laser focused on who we need to bring close in as advisors and those trusted advocates that's gonna truly help to move the needle.
Absolutely.
Well, my first hurdle was getting capital. Remember, I spoke before about I couldn't get an SBA loan because I listened to someone, a friend, well, associate, who told me they were going to give me a line of credit. Mind you, I had like a 750 credit score. Found out that that person stacked my deck for credit cards instead. So I didn't know that I applied for 18 credit cards. And if you know anything about credit cards, you got 30 days to repay that, pay it back. But not only that one, but once they go in their database and find out how many open credit inquiries you have there, they cut a lot of credit cards off. So when I applied for, I didn't know I applied for, but when I got 16, 18 credit cards, but when all was said and done with how much money I had to use to start my business, it was only 7 credit cards that I had to max out. So now my credit score went from 750 down to a 530. So now I definitely can't get an SBA loan. But I had enough capital on a rainy day that I put away to the side to help my business grow. And that was a major hurdle. I didn't get a paycheck for 2.5 years in my business. But I had to pay my front desk. I had to pay overhead. I had to pay taxes. They don't tell you about taxes when you start a business. Don't. That's a whole different conversation. But you miss as a practitioner, I know my job, I know my duty. But as a business owner, I was green. I was still on Similac. I didn't know enough, or I'm gonna phrase this correctly. I was so eager to get in business that I didn't know the business. And that was a big hurdle, learning on the job training when you're trying to build for yourself.
Yeah, I agree. There were 2 hurdles I've had to overcome as a business owner. One is the size, right? Because we were considered a small firm. You have the larger firms that you're competing with. And so you have to try and differentiate yourself between a smaller size firm and a larger size firm. You have to be ready to take on issues that the larger size firm that you hear on the radios, that you see on the billboards and things like that. But part of what we've done is that we've made sure that we always have been upfront with our clients. I do something that most attorneys are not going to do. Most attorneys aren't going to give you their cell number. I can promise you that. Some of the attorneys won't even give another attorney a cell number. So it's not happening. But because I wanted my clients to know that I'm there for you, then here's my cell number. You're more than welcome to call me at any point in time. But don't abuse the fact that I'm giving you my cell phone. I'm going to put the same amount of attention and detail into making sure that your case is handled and that you are fully aware of what is going on as any of the other larger firms. But you're going to run into that as far as size. The other hurdle that I've had to overcome in being a business owner is employees. It's hard to get people. You know, you've heard the comparison of whether you are a renter or owner of a business, and sometimes it's very hard to find individuals that see your business as their business and that they're buying into what it is that you're trying to build. And even though you reassure them that as I grow, you grow, we're in this together. That's hard to do. It's hard to find individuals that, like you said, will be up during the weekend, helping you finish a brief or helping you do research. Everyone is not going to do that. A lot of individuals will come in and say, hey, I work from 8 to 4. At 4 o'clock, I'm riding out. Nothing outside of that, right? Because that's what we've set up. So that's been one of the challenges and one of the hurdles of having to overcome. Now, we do some outsourcing on some of the things we do, although most things are handled in-house. But it's very hard in finding someone that's going to have the same mentality that you have, and the same, and be intentional on making sure that they're focused, that they're detail oriented, and they're helping you build your business, regardless of whether you can offer more money. They're still saying, this is not my business, this is yours. Or I have other things to do. So there that work-life balance comes back, right? I have my family that I've got to get to. And you're like, yeah, but hey, we have a lot of things that we need to get done. And so it's hard finding those employees. And even in talking to other attorneys and other business owners, you find out they're having some of the same problems. Is that they're saying, okay, well, I don't need this. So you're on your own. So we have been able to overcome that, but it is a hurdle that a lot of people are seeing and having to deal with it. And I think as a business owner, you have to be aware of that and be ready to understand that just because it's your vision, your dream, your business, doesn't mean that it's the next person's. My wife always tell me that you can't take your standard and put it on everybody else.
Exactly.
Right? So that expectation that you have of yourself, where you're gonna grind, you're gonna go out and get it. You know, you heard about the lion and the gazelle, all those type of things. Whoever's up in the morning early running and he gets it. You know, they say, the early bird catches the worm. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's somebody up before then. I don't know. But I want to be up building my business, and I want people with me that's going to do the same thing. But it's very hard putting your expectations onto someone else. Even if I put it in paper and you and I, Rodney, we sit down and we go over this, we say, yes, these are the expectations. This is where I want my business to go. They'll tell you, yes, I understand I'm with you, and they'll call you and say your keys are in the desk. You can mail my check here.
The buy-in.
Well, hey,
Yeah. And
it's real.
It is.
And, people will let you down.
Oh, God.
They will let you down left and right, and it's learning. It's a learning process. And I equate it to sometimes you have to go through that 9 in order to get to that 1.
Yes.
And it just takes so long sometimes. It's such a grind.
Yes.
Sweat is real.
Yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
Like you said, struggle is definitely real.
And I tell you, it goes back to that first word I said. It's a beast.
Beast.
And if you think anything otherwise, you're kidding yourself. This may not be what you want to do.
That's true.
This is not. You're not built for this. No.
It's not built for the lazy, for sure. For people who think they don't want, I work hard for it. I'm entitled to it. I'm here on the silver spoon. That means absolutely nothing when you're in this real world. You're going to have to grind. You're going to have to struggle. You're going to have to go through something that you're going to have to overcome to make you feel better, to make you realize that you made a great investment in you, and that everybody around you who's working with you will see that. Will they be on board? Possibly not. But you got to reconfirm with them, happiness is around the corner. And no matter how many times you tell them that, they're like, "Oh, well, Amazon's paying $15 an hour, $24 an hour." I was like, "Well, go ahead and bust your butt then. Go ahead and bust your butt. Do the work there at Amazon. But when you realize that's not what you want, because that money comes with a sacrifice,
Yes, sir.
you'll come out to reality and find out what's really important, and for your investment, for your future."
It definitely seems like it's across the board in all different businesses. My sister has a awesome dental smiles in Virginia, and she's having the same problems with employees. Where, hey, I need you to buy in, and they're not buying in. Right. So and this is across the board. But you don't let that stop you, right? That's why you go in knowing, if I'm gonna get this business off the ground, it's gonna be this is a beast. You have to be ready for whatever comes, and I'm gonna deal with it if this is what I want to do. I love what I do, and that's one of the better parts about this, right? Is that I actually love what I do, and so that part is great. And so when things come, it's like, okay, it's no big deal. This is what we do every day.
I've seen these gentlemen in action, and they all love what they do. And you better have a passion. I go in there, and this guy have to deal with people my size. This guy cracking me. I'm like, what?
Hey, adjusting. We don't crack nothing. We adjust. Don't get me in trouble.
Exactly. Adjusting. I mean, but they love what they do, and you have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do and you're trying to start a business, go, do something else, because it's just not going to work out. You have to love what you do. A couple of takeaways from that topic is be prepared for the bank to look at your skin tone. They're gonna look. You don't look to your left and right at the guy. Be prepared for them to look at the melanin in your skin, because they're going to look at it. No matter who you think you are, they're going to look at it. So be prepared for that. Also, your personal credit score, that is your business score. So all that stuff you might read about, business score, credit score, personal, no. So, and also even, I have 2 business degrees. So even business school don't teach you how to be a business owner.
No.
Business school have an undergrad and a graduate degree in business. They teach you how to make somebody else's business successful. Okay? So don't think, well, I got a business degree. Okay, yeah, you was taught how to make somebody else successful, but you're gonna fall flat on your face as soon as you start your business with your little business degree, and it's just not that. So keep that in mind. Okay. So the next topic is a little similar, but again, it's going to be the opportunities. I'm sorry. No, it's going to be a little bit different. Let's talk about the opportunities to take advantage of as a minority business a minority business owner. There are some advantages that we can take advantage of, and maybe some of you guys might have done that.
Well, I tell you, one of the things that is definitely I started plugging into is the Congressional Black Caucus. And their annual legislative forums that they have in Washington, D.C. every year, you have a plethora of business owners in different forms, different types of sessions where you can learn about business, learn about venture capitalists, learn about angel investors, learn about marketing, sales, finance. And you can find that, you don't have to go all the way to D.C., but there's other organizations. There's the Black MBA. They have conferences, they have forums, they have chapters here. So there's definitely opportunities for us to network, and even within our organizations, be it with Greek, Divine Nine, church, in communities. We all know somebody that's probably can be, someone as a mentor, like you mentioned, that we can network with, that they've gone through it. They've kind of gone through some of that hard knock, and we can kind of learn best practices from them. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can go out, network, open our mouth, let folks know what we're trying to do, ask for that support. And by and large, people will be willing to share. They'll be willing to, invest in you and try to pour into you in some form or fashion there. So those opportunities are there, to learn and to grow.
Any advantages or minority kind of?
Well, when I first started off, when I realized that my business wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go, I cut my hours back at my job. I was working Monday through Friday. I cut back Tuesday. Then I changed my schedule to work Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Went to work for another chiropractor, a black chiropractor, roughly 103 miles away.
Wow.
On Tuesday and Friday. To learn the business. To help him grow his business on top of that. But at the same time, I learned from him because we sat down and he was like, hey, I need you to take care of this. And my favorite question is, remember, check the ego at the door?
Exactly.
Right.
Why am I doing this? Why am I putting in this code? Why this code better than that code? What are my red flags? As I'm going through doing his paperwork and adjusting his patients, And he come back afterward. Hey, how many patients do we see? I seen this with Mr. and Mr. Johnny have this problem here. What shall I do about this? Mm-hmm. So when I learned that from his business, guess what I did to my office? Mm-hmm. I went back home and changed my paperwork.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm. I went back and changed my protocol because I seen his protocol work and how his patient was coming in. So I did, after 6 months, I left his office, went to work at another chiropractor's office to get some more information. Mind you, I specifically went to these chiropractors because they was already 25 years in the business. So they had skin in the game. They made their mistakes. And they was willing to show me if I was willing to invest my time to help grow their business and take something back from them. So I didn't have a business course or anything like Divine Nine or all these different chapters to go to because I never pledged.
Right.
I never was in that. I had the opportunity, but it wasn't me. I had to find me. So the only way I can find me was to suck my ego in, suck my pride in. Hey, do you need help? Let me learn. Help me learn. And so that was the opportunity that I got for people. Hey, you got this. I don't know what you're worrying about. Mm-hmm. Confirmation for someone who's making $500,000 to $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. Just say, hey, I don't have to fire you because you're doing so good at my practice. Go invest the same amount of energy in yours. Mm-hmm. I got fired for doing a good job.
Well, that's a hell of a mentor.
I love him to this day.
Man.
He said, he specifically said, I would love to keep you aboard, but if I keep you here, I'll be doing a disservice to you. So I'm going to have to fire you.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. Cooper, by the way. Love you, man. Hey, one of the best decisions I made was coming to see him and learning the protocol from him. I give him so much props.
Yeah, actually, something similar. I'm not going to go into it, but something similar almost happened with me. But not necessarily fired, but almost. It's like, no, get out of here. You too smart. You go. So yeah, that's mentorship. Yeah. Before we get off this topic, one of the things I realized is that, before I forget. I want for you to Google disadvantaged business entity, DBE, and just Google search that, look into it. We were going to talk about it a little bit tonight, but I'm not. Maybe I'll talk about it on the next, episode, next show when we have business owners again. But just Google search. It's a little bit of homework. Google search disadvantaged business entity, DBE, okay, for you that's out there. But one of the things I was going to talk about, I wanted to get that in before is that all three of you are in very unique business structures as far as Black men are concerned, right? We have, political, with the Political Action Committee, with the PAC. We have, you don't see many Black men. No. So lawyers, not many, and chiropractors. My goodness, I had to search hard. I got you though. I'm like, man, I found Dr. B, boy, but I've learned that, boy, they're just not out there like that. Just a little bit before we get off that topic, just talk a little bit briefly about the uniqueness of because look, I don't want you to be afraid. It's like, I don't see many Black men being mental health professionals, right? That's a plug because I'm telling you, I got some stuff coming on that because we really need to do this. But don't be afraid because no one looks like you. Is what I'm saying. Right. These three gentlemen are if they're in a room full of people that's running political action committees and lawyers and chiropractors, they stand out like a sore thumb. Just if we could talk about that a little bit, just a little bit.
Sure. Well, I would say one of the things that I definitely tried to do getting into the business was to learn who's out there, find out who are the biggest, who is the medium, who is the large. And again, find out what that niche is. What is it that I do a little differently than some of, I won't say competitors, but some of the others that's in this space? So for me, we have a vetting process. We have a questionnaire that candidates must go through to meet certain criteria. And it's not just all social issues. It's things about economic development, business development, supporting minority business, incubators, and what is their views on that. And all the PACs aren't going to do that. A lot of the PACs will just go ahead, throw a check out there, and say, okay, now you're mine. And they expect that candidate to fall in line. Well, guess what? I'm gonna hold that candidate accountable because they have made a commitment to our community saying this is the core values that I share with what the Political Action Committee values and is true to them. So for me, we go back to the meetings. I'll pick up the phone, call the candidates and say, hey, these are the bills, these are the legislation, these are the policies that we want you to ensure that you're going to follow through and support because these were your campaign promises. And oh, by the way, you're not just going to come back to our church in 4 years when it's time for election.
Tell me about it.
That part.
Speak it.
Yeah, I need you here next week. I need you here maybe 3 months down the road. I need you in this community. And we really try to hold our candidates accountable. And we build this family type of environment. And I think that's one of the things that when I talk about building that strategy, building that vision.
Right.
And then I tell the candidates, I say, hey, we got other candidates in the pipeline now. I need you to go support them too. It's not all about you. I need you to help them raise some money. I need you to help them to get the word out, knock on some doors, make some phone calls, take your team members out there and get these individuals elected. So for us and for myself, that was kind of the uniqueness or kind of the niche that I feel comfortable in. And now the candidates get it.
Yeah.
They get it. And it's just going to continue to evolve and grow. And it's going to be a point in time where we're going to say, hey guys, now this is the vision. What's next for you? And that's the other thing I also ask the candidates, I challenge. I say, okay, you got elected to a state rep. What's next? You're not going to stay here 30 years.
Exactly.
What's next? Because you do a good job here, I need you to also have a vision to do a good job as a senator or to get elected to the U.S. Congress.
It's interesting. In being a black male attorney, is in that growing up, I didn't know anyone that was an attorney that was black. As far as I knew of, there was no one in the community that was a black attorney growing up. Matter of fact, I grew up watching Matlock, who was not black.
Right.
And I knew at a young age I would either be an attorney, a psychiatrist, psychologist, or an engineer. One of those three is what I was going to do. But I also had it growing up that my mom always instilled in us: you can be whatever you want to be. You're going to meet people that's going to tell you what you can and can't do. Throw that out the window. And my brother-in-law, J-Lo, he was always big on that, Court. Don't listen to what anybody else has to say. If you want to do this, then you go ahead and do it. Nothing is stopping you. And that's been pushed in the family from uncles and everyone else. So growing up, I didn't see that many other attorneys. And it just so happened when I was working, one of my high school friends, Corey, his name is Corey as well, Corey Davis, he became an attorney. I'm like, well, this brother that I know is an attorney. And it's one of the things that I had wanted to do, and he's actually went and done it. I know him personally. I see him. And so that gave me a push to go ahead and do what I should have been doing. The other part was, though, even as I was a independent contractor before I went to law school, there was still something in driving. So as a contractor, you're driving, and I would go all over the Southeast, Alabama, Alabama, Tennessee, Carolina. And while I'm driving, you have so much time. Too much time on your hand to think about things and what you should be doing. There was always the spirit saying, why are you doing this? I understand you're a business owner and this is going well, but this is not what I want you to do. You just keep nagging and nagging and nagging to the point that you just have to stop what you're doing. And things will come up. Gas prices went up as a contractor because you're responsible for your gas. And other things, they wouldn't negotiate out contracts. I'm like, well, why won't they negotiate out contracts? This is crazy. So things come up that push you out of what you're doing into a different path that the Lord wants to take you. At least in my experience that happened. And so I didn't have any other choice but to follow that. And so I see my friend Corey. He's went to school. He's now an attorney. We're at his graduation, and I'm like, yes, okay, bro, I got you. This is what the Lord has been telling me to do. But even when I got accepted into law school, and I'm gonna tell you about this. Even when I put in for law school, they wouldn't exactly just let me in. So I'm sitting here and I'm wondering why. Okay, well, been a business owner, dad, doing all the things I'm supposed to, prior military. I'm putting all this on my admission to get into law school, and they're still saying, well, hold on, we want to talk to you. Like, well, why you want to talk to me? You got all the paperwork there. They want to talk to me, and I'm in there talking to them, and they said, well, we would rather have people who are already psychologists and psychiatrists and engineers to come into the school. And I'm like, well, that sounds like some bull to me, so why even have people apply? And so I asked for a meeting with the dean, and I'm in the meeting with one of the deans, and they're asking me, well, can you describe the color red to a blind person? I'm like, a blind person probably could care less about a color red. And what does that have to do with your vetting me into law school?
Right.
So, I'm in there with this. I'm like, okay, well, this sounds like something, because I'm from Alabama. This sounds like them asking me to tell them, well, how many pennies in that jar? And whatever my answer is wrong. How many bubbles can I get out of this bar of soap? Right, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, well, this doesn't make any sense. This is craziness. And I'm sitting there telling them, of course, what you're saying to me is craziness. Right. That has nothing to do with my being accepted and my being qualified to come to this law school and to make a difference once I get out of this law school. So I finally get into law school, right? So here I am, black man, into law school, been accepted. Well, I walk into the classroom and I look around, like you said. Where are the rest of the brothers at? Right? So I'm in there. I'm the only brother in there. we got 30, 40 people in there. Some sisters in there, some women are in there. But I'm like, wait a minute now. Some here don't look right.
Some of them ain't clean.
Right. Some of them ain't right. There's a problem that's going on, and you're in there, you're in this environment at this institution. Like, man, no, this right here is not right now. And you say to yourself, I'm not the only qualified black man that should have been in school, right? And so there's one in my section, me, and there was another one in the other section that I knew, and there was one or two that were in the ninth section. I'm like, well, this right here doesn't make any sense, but that's okay. We'll deal with it. And then, of course, some start transferring in. So as you can see, yes, in some of these instances, you're the only one that are in there. And you're one of the few, but you let them know, no, I'm here for a purpose, and I'm not going anywhere until I get what I came for, right? In being a black male, and even at my office is always open to anyone that wants to intern, extern, come in and visit, see how the process works. Because I want you to know that yes, there's someone that looks like you, and there's someone to help you. And even if I don't look like you, you're still welcome to come in and really see the excellence that we believe in putting forth at our law firm, because we're going to fight for you regardless to what anybody else says. Sometimes to our own detriment, right? We may have to spend out money in order to help you, and it still may not end up going the way we want it to, but we're letting you know we're there for you. So yes, we see it all the time. It is an issue, but we're always here, and now that we're here, we want you to know that we're coming. No matter what you say, you can try to ignore us, but it doesn't do any good, because we're coming to get you.
And that's real.
We're not going.
And that's real talk. That was not a commercial from Corey Martin. I mean, come see him. Doc, any?
Oh yes. Well, when I was growing up,
maybe about 3 minutes.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
I only need 2.
Okay.
When I was growing up, you didn't see chiropractors.
Yep.
Unless you was in an accident.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing you see on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And me growing up, I never seen my color.
Nope.
Every time, I hate to say the word every time, but every time it was an accident or someone was in an accident, we went to someone who didn't care about us. They care about money. When I went to school, it was only 3, 4 in the classroom. But I made sure them 3 to 4s right there, we sticking together. We gonna stick together.
That's right.
But what makes it so unpopular is being a business owner is making that business you. And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because you can see the stereotype of everything else that's around you. You can see when you go to, like I said, a medical doctor, I hate to use this word, but medical doctor, they're a lot more standoffish. You don't talk to the doctor directly. And if you're there, he'll only 3 minutes.
Yep.
Well, when you come to my office, it's a family. I play family music.
And that is true.
Like today, I had Luther Vandross on today. Now, don't get me started now.
That's why I go.
But it's that what you don't see I want to be. I want to be not only someone that you talk to, but I love music. I want that family gathering. I want that family interaction because I'm gonna treat you like my family, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, like your family's supposed to. And that is so important to me to get that message out to everyone. Hey, you don't have to live the way you are. You don't have to always be in pain. What you can do is have the freedom that you desire. You just gotta go to the right place to get it.
Quick couple takeaways is, man, you know, and you pretty much just kind of said it, and it's my first thing that I wrote down is that it's great if it's possible, but you do not have to see what you want to be. You know, people talk about it all the time, you know, but these gentlemen, they didn't see it. They didn't see it. They didn't see people look like them. So I understand that it makes things easier, but let's not just, you know, put that as a feather in our hat that we have to see what we want to be. Not true. Your naysayers, you're gonna have those naysayers. You're gonna have, you know, I just had a family member to graduate from college. Shout out to Brandon, and my advice that I gave him was, look, have anybody ever told you that, oh, college degree, it don't matter, it ain't all that, you know, college don't make you smart and all this stuff and everything. No, nobody never told me that. Well, they about to tell you now because you got a degree. So it's the same way with business, right? Oh, you and all this stuff. As soon as you get whatever it is that you set out to get, that's when you hear that what you got is just not anything. Okay, so be prepared for the naysayers. First, chances are, if you're watching this and all that, you know, if you look like me, you're probably gonna be first. You're probably gonna be the first. So get used to it. Don't let it intimidate you. Don't let it stop you. Okay, there's a lot of firsts at this table. Okay, and just about every one of these I have is a lot of firsts at the table. And something that Corey kind of brought up. Look, poll tax is just not at the voting polls. You pay a poll tax when you a black man looking like up here. You pay a poll tax everywhere you go. Everywhere. So be prepared to pay poll taxes everywhere you go. So those are my takeaways from that. Gentlemen, we're coming to the end, and I want for one last time for you guys to go ahead on and just talk about your business, plug your business one last time before we get out of here, because I promise you, these guys know what they're doing. I've seen them in action. That's why they're here. They're my friends. They're my colleagues, and we just enjoy each other. And we want you to do the same thing out there. You know, support each other. Okay, Martin, let's start with you, man.
All right. Well, thank you again. It's so good to be here again. Martin Raxton, Crimson with the K, Crimson Political Action Council. So crimsonpac.org. And again, if you're a candidate, if you're looking to run, if you have the heart of a servant leader and want to do right by your communities, feel free to give us a call. Reach out to us. A phone number I can reach at 404-276-2121. Again, 404-276-2121. And let's have a conversation. Here to serve, and we're here to build that family and building the political landscape of this country.
Martin, I want to thank you for this opportunity. It's a great opportunity
to
be able to sit and talk and discuss the issues that we definitely encounter in being a business owner and in being a black male business owner. It is actually great to meet the gentleman next to me because I wrote down his number. I did run for Superior Court Judge here in Douglas County this past May, and although we didn't get the W then, we plan on getting the W another time or next go around.
We will get the W.
So that's why
Put it out in the universe now.
it is out there. I guess I should text him now.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So you can't go anywhere.
Right.
So but thank you, and I appreciate it. And this is again, it's the law office of Martin and Associates. You can always count on Corey. We practice immigration, personal injury, criminal defense. We're here in Douglas County, 8312 Office Park Drive, Douglasville, Georgia. If we can help you, then please let us know. My cell phone number is 404-247-6656. 404-247-6656. And again, I have to thank you all. I definitely have to thank my family that supports me and allows me now at this time to be here to enjoy and to do what I should be doing for my community. So thanks, wife, daughters, family, everyone.
And Corey, real quick, I got a confession to make. I made a mistake and opened up that door. I think it got the letter A on it. And man, you know what we talked about during the campaign, and I saw your campaign signs. And I heard up and close the door. And let me tell you something. You hold on to those signs.
I will.
Because you know where you're going.
Yeah.
You know where you're going. All right, Doc.
All right, I'm gonna say thank you for inviting
absolutely.
me. This it's a blessing. Sacrifices that we talked about earlier.
Yes, sir.
This is a great one.
Yeah.
Get to know these two distinguished gentlemen that we're gonna talk
Yes.
afterwards. My name is Dr. Pasquale Biggums with Alleviation Wellness Chiropractic. I practice here in Douglasville on Highway 5. Office is 9559 Highway 5, Suite 204. I serve everyone. Auto accidents, wellness, kids, pediatric, geriatric. If you have a body, I can serve it. That's the name of the game. But what I want to make sure people understand is that little nick and pain that you've been dealing with over a period of time, it's just not gonna go away by itself. I never seen pain get better over time. So you don't have to live with it.
That's right.
But at the same time, come find out the root cause of it. Help someone alleviate it so you can get the quality of life you deserve. And that's my mission. I'm gonna make you feel at home. My office number is 678-306-6449. I look forward to having fun with you and serving you.
And he have fun with you too.
Oh, yes, I will. They're gonna get these paws and have fun with it.
And I definitely want to send a shout out to my brother from another mother, radio personality Coco brother, for just the outstanding promos and interviews, man, that you do for the program on 104.5 FM locally. But he's also broadcast in Macon and in Augusta. So thanks, bro, man, for always going above and beyond what we asked for. Listen to him live at Radio Condrey. That's CONDREY, radiocondrey.org. Also, check out our recorded episodes on YouTube and on Facebook at Douglas County Democrats. You search for us and you'll find us out there. We have all these episodes recorded out there. So go check them out. And on behalf of our chairwoman, Dr. Robin Zuniga Ortega, and the DC Dams Committee, until next month, catch me out there in these Douglas County streets trying to make a difference. Thank you. Gentlemen, appreciate it.
Hey.
That's great. We didn't get a chance to do question and answer.
Oh, my bad.
But for next time,
I take the time went by so quick. I looked at my
the question I have for everyone.
We got a question. We didn't get to get to it because we was having so much fun, man.
See what happened. I'm sorry.
But the question I have for everyone
Yes.
is